here we are again, talking about Portal 2 again. Hey look, I can't help it. It is my favourite game, and there's multiple reasons for that. However, you're not here to hear me gush about how much I like the game. You're here to hear me talk about whether or not the main character of Portal 2, Chell, has brain damage or not. So, let's take a look at everything Chell did within the game to determine if she really does have serious brain damage or not. First, we need to know what brain damage is and all of its causes. Then we can see if Chell fits any of them. So, here's what Wikipedia says about brain injury, which is the same as brain damage. Brain injury is the destruction or denigration of brain cells, which can impair brain functions. Brain injuries can result from external trauma, such as accidents or falls, or internal factors, such as stroke, infection, or metabolic disorders. In general, brain damage refers to significant, undiscriminating, trauma-induced damage. That seems good enough to me, and it covers some of the causes of brain damage. But I will still cover a few more examples anyway, so that we have more things to work with. Here is some information about traumatic brain injury. Again, I found this information on Wikipedia. Traumatic brain injury, TBI, is the most common type of brain injuries, typically caused by external physical trauma or head injuries. Acquired brain injury refers to injuries occurring after birth, in contrast to genetic or congenital brain injuries. Right, I don't think Chell has this type of brain injury, as no point in Portal 2 or Portal 1 did she fall and hit her head, nor did someone hit her on the head to cause it, so we can rule this out as the cause of Chell's brain damage. Let's check out some of the signs and symptoms of brain damage now. Here's what Wikipedia has to say about mild, moderate, and severe signs and symptoms of brain injury. Mild. Symptoms of mild brain injury include headaches, confusions, tinnitus, fatigue, changes in sleep patterns, mood, or behavior. Other symptoms include trouble with memory, concentration, attention, or thinking. Mental fatigue is a common, debilitating experience and may not be linked by the patient to the original, minor incident. Moderate/severe. Cognitive symptoms include confusion, aggressiveness, abnormal behavior, slurred speech, coma, and other disorders of consciousness. Physical symptoms include headaches that worsen or do not go away, vomiting or nausea, convulsions, brain pulsation, abnormal dilation of the eyes, inability to wake from sleep, weakness in extremities, and a loss of coordination. Alright, so from what I can tell from this information, Chell does not suffer any symptoms from having a mild brain injury. But how about the moderate/severe one? Well, there was something that does point to her having it, and that is the inability to wake from sleep. Chell only woke up when the announcer came on. She did not wake up by herself. Now, we could argue that the relaxation vault is designed to keep its subjects asleep, and that's why Chell didn't wake up, but we shouldn't ignore the fact that Wheatley says that Chell has serious brain damage. Actually, let me take that back. Wheatley says that we might have a case in serious brain damage. Keyword, might. That means that Chell doesn't have brain damage at all, as the word might just implies that it could be the case, not that it actually is the case. However, Wheatley isn't exactly the brightest bulb sometimes, something I went over in my video all about him. Therefore, we shouldn't exactly take what he says at face value. There could be some truth in his statement, or he could be lying about it, because what does he know about brain damage? I think it's about time we take a look at what Chell does in Portal 2 now, because neither the meaning of brain damage or Wheatley's words are helping us figure out if Chell does or doesn't have brain damage. Or a brain injury for that matter. Now, we have to take out the player's involvement here, as everyone plays the game in a different way, and that could change how Chell behaves. Although, we could factor in that as well, and use that to explain why she's slow in some sections and faster in the other ones. But for now, I'm just going to focus on Chell alone, covering a few chapters. So, she easily gets through the first test chambers, handles the single portal gun like it's second nature, and assist Wheatley with his problems. I don't know about you, but that doesn't exactly scream, I have brain damage, doesn't it? However, to be fair, the first test chambers were dead easy. Even a toddler would be able to solve them. So let's move on to chapter 2 and see what Chell does there. She gets through every single last one of Gladys's chambers with the dual portal device and with some new mechanics, lasers and flinging, without much effort. Sure, those test chambers are still easy and quite old, but GLaDOS is running them now, so they are going to get harder over time. Still, these behaviors from Chell in chapter 2 are not signs of someone with brain damage. Therefore, we are moving on. On to chapter 3, where Chell once again gets through every single chamber GLaDOS can throw at her, even with the added chambers of the hard light bridge and the old favourite, turrets. Yet despite those challenges, Chell doesn't bat an eye and presses on. Pretty impressive, don't you think? But now, it is about time to see what Chell does in chapter 4. Again, Chell gets through every single test chamber thrown her way, not slowing down. And when Wheatley finally comes to get her out of the test chamber, Chell doesn't hesitate. She is out of there. Again, is that something that a person with brain damage would do? Because I'm having a hard time seeing it right now. I won't cover all of the chapters, as we'd be here all day, but I firmly believe that Chell does not have brain damage. Nothing she does in the game implies that she has it. She can get through anything that is placed in her way, learn new things in record time, adapt to what is going on surprisingly well, and use whatever she has available to her advantage. If she truly did have brain damage, a lot of these feats she achieved within the game would not have been possible. Still, I would like to know what you guys think in the comments below. Does Chell have brain damage or not? Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. They really do help. Until then, I'll see you next time.